Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. So welcome to all the survivors here, inshallah. Out of 108 students, you survived so far. MashaAllah, good job, keep it up. So final exam is going to be on Tuesday. So we got quite a bit to cover. Keep in mind that we actually skipped 1 week, right? You remember that week when we had Sheikh Akram Nadwi here on Tuesday? So we skipped that week. We had like a little bit of a break, but I'm sure you didn't anticipate that I would just let that one slide. So we're going to try to finish 1.5 chapters today and 1.5 chapters on Thursday, inshallah. So are we ready for that? Better get into gear. Make dua to Allah. You can focus. Grab your coffee if you need it during break time. And let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So new verbs that we're going to be learning today. You can repeat them with me. Alima, to know. And then you use something which is the direct object. So for example, you can say Alima Muhammadun Khadijata. Muhammad knew Khadija. Alima الرجل القرآن. The man knew the Quran. Alright? Kafara, to disbelieve. Kafara Muhammadun. Muhammad disbelieved. Right? Kafarat Aishatu. Aisha disbelieved. Next verb is amila. Amila means to do or to work or enact something. So for example, amila, what did he do? Just say amila, okay? He did. Amilat Maryamu. Maryam did something, or she acted something. Akhaza. Akhaza, to take, to grab, or to seize. Almost the same meaning. Something. So you can say, for example, Akhaza Yusufu kitaban. Yusuf grabbed a book. Right? Akhaza al-waladu bintan. The boy grabbed a girl, a little girl. Abada, to worship something. So you can say Abada Muhammadun Allah. Muhammad worshipped Allah. Zalama, to oppress. You can say Zalama ar-rajulu al-muslimina. The man oppressed al-muslimina, the Muslims. It's mansub because it's a direct object. Right? Musliman or al-muslimin. Sa'ala. Sa'ala means to ask. So you can say Sa'ala Muhammadun. Muhammad asked. Sa'ala Ibrahimu. Ibrahim asked. Sa'alatil mar'atu. The woman asked. Right. Akala, to eat. So akala al-waladu. The boy ate. Akala al-waladu kitaban. The boy ate a book. Assuming that he did, metaphorically. He's a scholar and he reads lots of books. Nazara. Nazara means to look, and you use it with ila to get the meaning of at. So to look at, you have to use ila. So Nazara Muhammadun ila, what did he look at? Ila al-masjidi. Nazara Muhammadun ila al-masjidi. Muhammad looked at the mosque. Nazara al-waladu ila al-jannati. The boy looked at the garden or paradise. Right? Zakara. Zakara means to remember or to mention something. So we said Zakara al-muslimu Allah. The Muslim remembered Allah. Zakara al-kafiru ash-shaytana. The disbeliever remembered Satan. Okay. So these are the verbs that we are going to be using and the new ones we learn. Then we learn some new words, some new nouns. Kalimatun, kalimatun means word. Kalimatun, word, a word. Kalimatun, words. Malakun, angel. Not malikun, malakun is angel. Malaikatu, malaikatu, angels. Right? Angels. Dinun, religion. Adyanun, religions. Shay'un, thing. Don't forget how to spell it, It's a little tricky. Shay'un and ashya'u, things. Ashya'u, things. And then two more adjectives we're going to learn today. Kathirun, many. Kathiruna is the plural for that. And qalilun, few or little. Qaliluna is the plural for that one. And the proper nouns we learn: Adamu, Adam; Ash-shaytanu, Satan; Al-Qur'anu, the Quran; and Yusufu, Yusuf. Okay, so these are the vocabulary words that we're going to be learning today. So hopefully you can follow along. If you have it printed, just keep the vocab sheet next to you so you got them all down. And I'm sure everyone has memorized all the vocabulary words from all the previous lessons and just has it down just solid like that. Or at least they should. All right. So today we're going to learn number agreement with plurals. Now this is an interesting rule, very important to learn, that a masculine plural noun, give me an example of a masculine plural noun that we learned. Rijalun. Give me another one. Walad, plural. Awladun. Right? Awladun. So masculine, plural, noun. Awladun, rijalun. When you're using some kind of description, pronouns or whatever, adjectives, you're going to treat them as being masculine, plural. So awladun, do you believe that awladun has the meaning of a masculine plural? Are awladun masculine? Male? Yes. Are they plural? Yes. So very simple. So this makes sense. Feminine plural nouns will be treated as feminine plural. So give me an example of feminine plural noun. Banatun. Right. So banatun, is it feminine? Yes. Is it plural? Yes, it is. So it makes sense. It's pretty easy. So what you do is anytime you have a pronoun or an adjective or even a verb, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that they all agree together. So look at some simple examples. Mu'minuna, is that masculine or feminine? Masculine. Is it plural or singular? Plural. So masculine, plural. If you want to say they are believers, would you say huwa mu'minuna? No. Can you say hunna mu'minuna? No, because that would be feminine. So you say hum mu'minuna wa hunna mu'minatun. It's pretty obvious, right? So they are believers. Hum mu'minuna wa hunna mu'minatun. You cannot switch this and say hunna mu'minuna and hum mu'minatun. Why? Because masculine plural should take masculine plural. Feminine plural should take the feminine plural pronoun, hunna. Right, so we learn this. Hum mu'minuna, they are believers. Wa hunna mu'minatun, they are believers, female believers. Same thing here. Kafiruna, use ha'ulai. So ha'ulai, kafiruna. What is the feminine for ha'ulai? Ulaika? No, it's not ulaika. It is ha'ulai. Alright, so it works for masculine and feminine, so you don't have to worry about it. But can you say haza kafiruna? Can you say haza kafiruna? This is disbelievers? You can? Haza kafiruna? You can't, right? Because kafiruna is plural, and you need to describe it with a plural pronoun. So do not say haza kafiruna. You have to say haulai kafiruna. And do not say haulai kafirun, because that would mean these are disbelievers. Doesn't make sense, right? So same thing. Men are old and the girls are young. Ar-rijalu kibarun wal banatu saghiratun. So ar-rijalu, the men, are kibarun. Use the plural. Adjective, the plural. Kibarun. Wal banatu, and the girls are saghiratun. This is the plural of saghira, right? So use the plural. Wal banatu saghiratun. The men are old and the girls are young. The last one, these are direct attributive adjectives. Al-Muslimun al-Jududu, the new Muslims. Right? So you have to use al-Jududu is the plural of Jadid. Al-Muslim is the plural of, Al-Muslimuna is the plural of Muslim. So you use the plural and use the plural, masculine and masculine. You don't say al-Jadidatu. Right? So Al-Muslimun al-Jududu, the new Muslims, fil masjidi, are in the mosque. وَالنِّسَاءُ الْفَقِيرَاتُ. Do not use the plural of, do not use al-fuqara'u. You do not say وَالنِّسَاءُ الْفُقَرَاءُ, because the word fuqara'u is the masculine plural. So you have to use the feminine plural. وَالنِّسَاءُ الْفَقِيرَاتُ عَلَى الْجَبَلِ. And the poor women are on the mountain. Now you might be thinking, okay, why in the world would we even learn this rule? A masculine plural noun is treated as masculine plural. Duh, obviously. A feminine plural noun is treated as feminine plural. Obviously, right? It just makes sense. Why would it be any other way? Well, Arabic is a very special language. It's a very, very special language. And what they're going to do is they're going to teach you a new rule. And that is a very counterintuitive rule, which doesn't make any sense, but you just have to learn it. And that is the plural of all non-persons, right? Animals, inanimate objects, ideas, like what's an example of an animal? Did we learn any? We didn't learn any animals. What's an inanimate object? Baytun. What's the plural of baytun? Buyut, right? Buyut. What's another inanimate object? Jabalun. The plural of jabalun. Jibalun, mountains, right? These are all plurals of non-persons, ideas, like Islam, if you had a plural of it or something like that. They are treated as being feminine singular. You say, whoa, feminine singular. So yes, regardless of whether the word is masculine or feminine. So look at the word jabal. The word jabalun, is the word jabalun masculine or feminine? Masculine, right? So the word jibalun should also be masculine. But you know what? When you say jibalun, you should be thinking of one woman in your mind. Because when you say jibalun, you do not say ha'ula'i jibalun. You actually are going to say hazihi jibalun. These are mountains. Hazihi, you would say hazihi bintun, and you would say hazihi jibalun. You would say hiya Maryamu, she is Maryam, and you would say hiya buyutun. They are houses. Why? It's just the way the Arabic language is. So this is something really strange. It's called deflected agreement. You have to put in your mind, this is very difficult for beginners. You have to put in your mind that anything that is not a person. What's a person? Rijalun, nisa'un, awladun, banatun, that we saw in the previous slide. These are all persons. So persons, you treat them like normal. Plural of person is the plural. But inanimate objects, when they're plural, doesn't matter if they're masculine or they're feminine. Jannatun or buyutun. Doesn't matter if this masculine or feminine. They are seen in Arabic as being feminine singular. It's just the way it is. So just register it in your mind. And this applies for all words, pronouns, adjectives, and verbs. So let's take a look at some examples. Hiya masajidu. They are mosques. And you say, wait a minute, they? Hiya? I thought hiya means she, or hiya means it. Well, the word masajidu, is it singular or plural? Plural. Is it person or non-person? Non-person. Is it male or female? We don't even care. We don't even need to care about whether it's male or female. It's automatically considered a hiya. It's one girl in the sight of Arabic language. Okay? So hiya masajidu. Hiya kutubun. They are books. Hiya jibalun. Hiya anharun. Hiya mudunun. Hiya aqlamun. You're getting the point? Alright? Alright. Same thing with hazihi. Hazihi jibalun wa tilka jannatun. So this is a non-person. A non-person. Therefore use the feminine singular. Use the feminine singular. Okay? Hazihi jibalun wa tilka jannatun. These are mountains. وَتِلْكَ جَنَّاتٌ. And those are gardens. And I know when you're translating, you're going to start looking, oh, هذه means this. Not anymore. هذه means these. But you say هذه singular. Yes. But this is plural. So you're going to translate it as being plural as well. وَتِلْكَ جَنَّاتٌ. Okay? Same thing with attributive adjectives. الْكُتُبُ الْجَدِيدَةُ. الْكُتُبُ الْجَدِيدَةُ. The new books are in فِي الْبُيُوتِ الْقَدِيمَةِ. In the old houses. So again, kutub is plural, doesn't refer to people, therefore you use the singular feminine, al-jadidatu. Singular feminine. Al-buyut, houses, plural, non-person, use al-qadimati, feminine, singular adjective. Right? Last one. Even with verbs. So remember, you say, katabat al-aqlamu al-kutuba. The pens wrote the books, metaphorically. Right? The pens wrote the books. So even when you're talking about a verb, right? Al-aqlamu, you would say, well, wait a minute. I'm using the female. Like you would say, katabat Maryamu, kitaban. Maryam wrote a book. Now you're saying, katabat al-aqlamu. The pens wrote. And you're still using the feminine, singular, for the verb even. Any questions on this? It's tricky, but does it make sense? Yes. Okay. I got one nod of the head. Alhamdulillah. Are you ready to try some examples? Yes, Ahmed.
So you're saying you're saying this is probably a really dumb question.
No, there is no dumb question. The only question that doesn't get asked is the dumb question.
Well, I mean, in some you're going to singular plural, and then but for in some cases you're going to use hadhihi and I mean, that's that matter. You only do the singular plural, but you might use the female, or you might use female. What do you call it? Plural as well.
You use the female plural only when referring to persons, people.
So you never do it
If it's a non-person. Yeah. You rarely find it in the Quran and in poetry, but for all practical intents, we're not going to use that. So we're always going to use, for non-persons, we're going to use the feminine singular. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
You already went over the vocabulary. I had a question about the have something. That means
So that little ha means that verb takes a direct object. Takes a direct object. Yeah, so kataba Muhammadun kitaban. So if you put a ha for kataba, that ha means it takes a kitaban. It takes a direct object. Inshallah. Because we actually did it previously, right? We did it the last week. So I'll show you during break time, inshallah. Okay? Alright. Any other questions from this slide or the previous slide? Alright, let's get to it. We got exercises. So let's do 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3. We'll spend a few minutes on this, inshallah, and then we'll break for Maghrib. Okay, we'll take a break for Maghrib, inshallah, and we'll come right back and continue. since I see two sisters and all brothers on their cell phone, I would assume that you're all done with this homework. So let's take a look. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Number 1. Somebody, yes. Hiya kutubun, which means close. They are books. Good. They are books. These and they, very subtle difference, but be careful. They are books. Number 2. Yes? Oh, okay. Number 2. Yes. Tilka aqlamun. Tilka aqlamun. What does it mean? Huh? That are pens. You're close. English is just those. Those, yeah. Yeah, those are pens. Tilka aqlamun. Those are pens. Yes. Number 3. Bismillah. Huh? You had a question? Okay. How do you know if it's these or those? Well, remember, haza and hazihi are for this, something that's near. And zalika and tilka and ulaika is for something that's further, is called that. Yeah, so this and these, that and those. Something near, something far. So haza, hazihi, hazani, hazaini, and haulai. And something so that's near, and then something that's far is dhalika, tilka, tanika, tainika, ulaika. Something that's far. Who wants to do number 3? Who did 3? Who actually got to number 3? Good. So one of you who raise your hands, Bismillah. Go ahead, sister. Read the first word again. Al-Masajid. Good. Okay. Al-Masajid al-Ba'idatu qalilata. Is that what you said? Okay. So why ta? What does Ba'ida mean? Far. Yeah, okay. The far mosques are, you said are, right? Okay. Are, and you said qalilata. Okay, so let me ask you a question. How do you say the mosque is far? Wait, far. Don't look at this anymore. How do you say the mosque is far? The mosque, al-masjidu, is far. There you go. Ba'idun, right? So you said un. So now what is this sentence? Exactly. Al-masajidul ba'idatu qalilatun. The distant mosques are, what does qalilatun mean? Few. Yeah. They are few. Alright? Yes. Yes, exactly. So al-ba'idatu is referring back to masajid. So you have to use feminine singular. And qalilatun is also referring back to masajid. So it has to be feminine singular. Exactly. All right, number 1 from 7.2. Yes. Al-adyanu kathiratun. Excellent. Did anyone notice this word in the Quran that was being recited? The word deen. Anyone notice that? Deen is a new vocab word. The word deen was there, right? Ba'du bid-deen. Although it has a completely different meaning than religion, but still it's there. So religions, al-adyanu kathiratun. Religions are many. All right, number 2. The old teachers are in the mosque. The last one. The old teachers are in the mosque. Yes, Bismillah. Teachers, plural. Ustazu is singular. Al-asati. Al-asati, the two. Two. Al-asatidhatu. It's a tongue twister. Al-asatidhatu. Yes. The mosque. One mosque. One mosque. One mosque. One mosque only. Only one masjid. Fil masjidi. Okay. So somebody just help her with the first part. You wanted to do it, right? Or you had a question? You tricked me up when you have a question or you're volunteering. You wanted to do it? Bismillah, go ahead. Help her. She got the fil masjid part. Do the rest. Teachers. Al-ustazu is one teacher. Al-asatidhatu. Whoever knows Persian knows this because it's from Persian. So, yeah, Persian? Yeah, I figured. Al-asatidhatu. It's Urdu as well. It's Urdu. People who know Urdu should know this. Who knows Urdu? Come on, raise your hand. You know it. Yeah. Al-asatidhatu, the old teachers. So we mean old in age or old in... It could mean either one. So let's say old in age. Use the word kabir. Right? Now do you use feminine singular or do you use plural? Do you use masculine plural? Do you use feminine plural? Which one do you use? The old teachers. Feminine plural. Because the teachers have been reduced to the status of non-persons, in your opinion. Is that what happened? No. So look, let's go back to singular. How do you say the old teacher? The old teacher, meaning he's an old person. Al-ustazu al-kabiru. There we got the old teacher. Al-ustazu al-kabiru. How do we say the old teachers? Al-asatidhatu I hear al-kabiratu. So the thing is, are teachers persons or non-persons? They're persons. So why are we making them feminine singular? They're persons. Treat them as people. So al-asatidhatu al-kibaru. Al-asatidhatu al-kibaru. As kibar is the plural of kabir. Old. We said for people, when you use kabir, it means old in age. Yeah. Remember that? Yeah. That's it. So it means old. So kabir for people is old. So al-asatidhatu al-kibaru. But what do you say? Wait a minute. There's a ta marbuta in the word al-asatidha. So doesn't that make it feminine? So we say al-kabiratu. The teachers are still masculine. If you wanted to say the female teachers, in terms of the female teacher, you would say al-ustadhatu, right? Or one female teacher, al-ustadhatu, right? Like al-muslimatu, al-mu'minatu, al-kafiratu, al-ustadhatu. Right? So that's the way it is. So the old teachers are in the mosque. Al-asatidhatu al-kibaru fil masjidi. What if I said in the mosques? Fil masajid. The T or D? You're thinking about pink mosques. Fil masajid D. So the mosque, they remain in their form. Fil masajid. Alright, good. Okay. So let's move on. Now we learn one of, this got misformatted, unfortunately. But it's okay, you'll get the point. Imagine all the parentheses at the end are actually at the beginning. So just don't worry about the parentheses here. We're going to learn how to conjugate the past tense verb. And remember that all forms build off of the third person masculine form. So look what we've learned so far. We learned fa'ala. Right? What does fa'ala mean? Just if you say fa'ala, what does it mean? No, okay, in the vocabulary, we learn it as to do, but I'm using it in a sentence. If I count you and say fa'ala, he did. Okay, what if I said fa'alat? She did. What if I said kataba? He wrote. Katabat. What if I say she sat? Sat. Okay, so we got this form and we got this form. We got two forms down. Now you're going to realize in Arabic there are 12 other forms to learn. And you're going to learn all of them. You're not really going to use all of them, but you're going to learn all of them just for now. And to make your life easier, I'm going to give you this chart on the final exam so that to make your life easier. Yes, alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. So what we're going to do is you see this huwa and hiya, right? Anta, anti. You know all these pronouns already. We don't need to use these when you're talking about the verb. Like we don't say huwa fa'ala, right? We don't say fa'ala huwa. We just say fa'ala, it means he did. Fa'alat, you don't have to say hiya, right? So the same thing, this is supposed to be in parentheses for you. Just to kind of practice. These are in parentheses, you don't actually use them. But what we're going to do is we're going to look and see how we use them. So fa'ala means he did. Okay? You build and you add one alif and you say fa'ala. And that's the dual third person masculine form of this. So the huma form, remember what huma means? Huma, what does huma mean? They too, right? They too. So what does fa'ala mean? They too did. Exactly. What does fa'alu mean? It's the hum form. Fa'alu means they did. Talking about a group of males or females mixed in there. So fa'alu. Right? So this is what we're learning. We're learning all the forms. Hiya, you'd say fa'alat. Fa'alat means she did. Huma fa'alata. This is they, two females did. And hunna, you'd say fa'alna. They did, referring to a group of women. Like if you said al-muslimatu, right? What about them? Fa'alna. They did something. Right? Fa'alta is the anta form. Fa'alta, it means fa'alta, anta. You did. Anta. You did. So fa'alta means you did. Right? Fa'altuma. You two people did. Fa'altum, all of you did, referring to a group of masculine or mixed. Fa'alti, you did, for a female. So you're talking to a female, fa'alti, you did. Fa'altuma, same things, you know, there's no difference here. Fa'altuma for two women. Antunna is fa'altunna. You're talking to a whole group of women, say fa'altunna. You did, all you women, you did this, or you did something. Fa'altu, I did. And fa'alna, we did. We did. Notice the difference between fa'alna and fa'alna. So it's sometimes you may hear it wrong. It makes a world of difference between they, a group of females did, and fa'alna, we did. So what you need to do actually, not in this class, but by the next class, you need to memorize this entire chart. Right? So now, which forms do you really need to memorize? You really need to know. You need to know fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat. This is rarely used. Fa'alta, fa'altum, fa'alti. This is rarely used as well. Fa'altu and fa'alna. So you can skip all the duals because they don't come that much, and you can skip fa'alna and fa'altunna. Why? Because usually when you're talking about a group of people, usually there's at least one male in there. And when there's one male in there, you use fa'alu, and you use fa'altum. Right? You're going to use that form. So if you want to be a little bit lazy for now, you can just memorize these ones, and it'll help you a lot. If you want to memorize all of them, right, because you really want to just master the Arabic language completely, memorize all of them. One of the ways that it's very commonly taught throughout the Muslim world is to memorize them in a certain order, because it helps you and it helps you build off things. So this is the way it's taught. You memorize it going right to left. Fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu. Say it with me. Fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, فعلتا فعلنا فعلت فعلتما فعلتم فعلتِ فعلتما فعلتن فعلت فعلنا. So let me tell you the way that I had to memorize it when I started learning Arabic is that my teacher, he would make us memorize this chart, and you have to keep, there's so many different conjugations, you have to memorize like 20, 30 of these charts, exactly this 14 forms. So what we did was, he happened to be a former military, so what he would do is, he would ask us to do all of these, and if we did it too slow, we had like 2 to 3 seconds to do it. So فعل فعل فعلوا فعلت فعلت فعلنا فعلت فعلتما فعلت فعلتِ فعلتما فعلتن فعلت فعلنا. So if we said it too slow and it wasn't correct, we made one little mistake, we do 20 push-ups, stay in push-up position until he calls on everybody else for the different forms, and then we get asked again. And if we get it right, we can get out of push-up position. Otherwise, we do 20 more push-ups and we stay in push-up position. So my classmates are either really, really good in Arabic or they're very fit. Right, so they all won at the end of the day. So alhamdulillah, I was one of the ones who came out with Arabic. So still working on the fitness. But this is a way, you know, which will help you. So why do you do this? First of all, you need to know the conjugations. But what you do is, you take any other verb that we've learned, like jalasa, right? Look at the pattern. Fa'ala, jalasa. See, the vowels are the same. Fatha, fatha, fatha. So what you're going to do is you're going to learn to put another verb on the same pattern. So let's do it slowly together. So fa'ala, we change these letters, we get ja, la, sa. So here, what would we get? Ja, la, sa. Ja, la, su. Ja, la, sat. Ja, la, sa, ta. Jalasna. Jalasta. Jalastuma. Jalastum. Jalasti. Jalastuma. Jalastunna. Jalastu. Jalasna. So that's what you do, is you take a pattern. So you take another one. Let's say some verb that you've never seen before. We learned akala today, right? Akala means to eat, or he ate, right? So we take akala, we put it on the same pattern. So let's do it. Akala, akala, akalu, akalat, akalata, akalna, akalta, akaltuma, akaltum, akalti, أكلتما أكلتن أكلت أكلنا. The reason why it's memorized is so you get this pattern in your mind. It kind of like forms like a lookup table for you. So if I ever ask you, I say, look, I'm going to give you a new verb, ذهب. This is the first time you're hearing it. So I want to say ذهب. I want you to tell me, how do you say she went? ذهبت. How do you say you went? I'm talking to Kenny. You went. You made him into Fina. ذهبتي. ذهبت. ذهبت. I'm talking to Sister Maryam. You went. ذهبتي. Right? How do you say we went? ذهبنا. So that's the benefit of getting the table in your mind. So you can conjugate any verbs. I give you another verb. I give you, what's another verb that we learned so far? Dakhala. So I want to say, you, all of you, entered. You all entered. Dakhaltum. Dakhaltum. All of you entered the mosque. Dakhaltum al-masjid. Direct object of the verb is always the direct object of the verb. Masjid. The object of the verb takes a fatha. It's mansub, and the subject of the verb takes a dhamma. Go back and check your notes on that one. So what we're going to do is we're going to conjugate some verbs, right? So we got how to do it now. So how do I say they, masculine, They left. Don't say it. No one from the last class. They left. So let's think. What's the verb first of all for to leave? Kharaja. Good. How do you say they left? What pattern is it going to be on? Give me the pattern on the screen. What's the pattern? Pick one of these patterns. They. Home pattern, which is fa'alu. The fa'alu pattern. Right? So put kharaja on the fa'alu pattern. Kharaju. Exactly. How do you say I sat? Which pattern is it first of all? It's the ana. What's so forget the ana part. It's the pattern of fa'altu. So the pattern, we're going to call it fa'altu. We're going to use fa'ala as a standard pattern form. We just, even though it's a real verb, we're going to use it as a default, kind of like a pattern. So we say the pattern is fa'altu, and I want to say I sat. Jalastu. Got it. That's it. How do I say you two? I'm talking to two people. Okay. You two sat down. What pattern is it? Fa'altuma, and we would say you two sat down. Jalastuma. Got it? Alright, let's do some pattern practice. So all the verbs we learn, they follow the same pattern in terms of voweling and the additional letters, with one exception. Going back, the vowel on the second letter of the verb is always dependent on the original way it was learned. So here's a few exceptions. How do you say he heard? I heard sama'a and I heard sami'a. Sami'a, right. So what happens is, you see the pattern fa'ala, right? Don't let it confuse you. When you take the verb sami'a, that mim, that kasra on the mim, which is the middle letter, right? Of sami'a, 3 letters, the middle letter, it stays. That kasra stays throughout. So because you learned the verb as sami'a, not as sama'a. So that's the only exception. You don't change that kasra. You keep the kasra and you follow the rest of the patterns. So let's take sami'a and go through the entire list. Okay? Number 1. Huwa sami'a. Good. Huma sami'a. Hum sami'u. Hiya sami'at. Huma sami'ata. Hunna sami'na. Anta sami'ta. Antuma sami'tuma. Antum sami'tum. Anti sami'ti. Antuma sami'tuma. Antunna sami'tunna. Ana sami'tu. Nahnu سمعنا. أحمد هل سمعت؟ لا ما سمعت. Okay, inshallah. You will, inshallah. You will. So, all right. Let's move on. Okay, so that's basically the conjugation. So here you got fa'alta, you did. Jalasta, you sat. Sami'ta, you heard. Alimta, you knew. Fa'alu, they did. Jalasu, they sat. Sami'u, they heard. Alimu, they knew. Keep in mind the one exception here. You notice the little asterisk here? That's because, see this alif? This alif is written, but it's not pronounced. It's just this random alif sitting there. It's kind of like ana, right? Ana, there's alif there, but you don't pronounce it. So it's one of those exceptional words. You just write it, but you don't pronounce it. So فعلنا, we did. جلسنا, we sat. سمعنا, we heard. علمنا, we knew. How do I say? We ate. أكل. From أكل, how do you say we ate? أكلنا. How do you say we prostrated? From sajada. Sajadna. Good. All right, we got it. So now we just do some practice to make sure you really got it. Just conjugate these verbs, or just write down the vowels and the meanings for 7.3. And for 7.4, write them into Arabic. Okay, so we'll take 5 minutes on this. No, both. Do 1 and 1, 1 and 1. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Okay, let's take a look. Number one. Who would like to do number one? You can just read that for me. Ahmad. Dakhala, which means he entered. Excellent. Number two. Yes. Wajadu, which means they found. Excellent. Number three. Yes. Say it again. Jalasat. Yeah, jalasat. What does that mean? I sat? No, jalasat. I heard a he and I heard a she. She. Yeah, she sat. Alright. Jalasat. She sat. Number four. Yes. Yes, come on. Try it. It's okay. It doesn't matter if it's wrong. At least try it. Kharajta. You got it. What does it mean? She left close, but ta, kharajta. Kharajat means she left. They left? No, that would be kharaju. Anta.
No idea.
You. 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 Yeah, you say you. Yeah, you're talking to somebody. You say you. So you left, kharajta, to a guy. And to a girl, it would be kharajti. Anti kharajti. Yeah. Good. Last one, five. Number five. The tricky one. Yes. Sami'tum. Very good. Which means? Close. Sami'u is they heard. You heard. Yes. All you people heard. You heard. Alright, good. Number one, he asked. How do we say he asked? Sa'ala. Good. Number two, she ate. Somebody raise your hand. I'm hearing loud. Yes. Akalat. She ate. Good. Number three, we looked. Yes. Nazarna. Good. You got this down. Alright. Number four, I remembered. Yes. Zakartu. I remember. Zakartu. And number five, I prostrated. Sajadtu. Sajadtu. Good. We got this down. Alhamdulillah. So now, let's put it into more practice with full sentences. So let's do 1, 1, 2, 2. Who did at least 2 and 2? 2 and 2. Okay, so we're ready. Number 1. Who would like to volunteer? Yes. ظلموا المسلمين. Good. Which means they oppressed the Muslims. Very good. Number 2. Number 2, yes, Jamis. أين علمت ذلك? What does that mean? Where did you know, or where did you learn? It can also mean learn, yeah. Where do you learn that? Or where did you know that from, right? أين علمت ذلك? Where did you know that from? When you're talking to a girl or a guy? Girl. What if you're talking to a stack of books? Which form would you use? Yeah, you're speaking to a bunch of books. You're asking the books, where did you learn that? And nobody talks to the books? Okay. Right. Huh? Alimta. So you make the books feminine or masculine. Alimta. So what are books in Arabic? A stack of books, right? They're objects. They're non-persons. So therefore, we're going to treat them as being female and singular. So you would say Aina alimti if you were talking to books as well. Okay? So imagine you're talking to some books. You'd say like, hey, anti, kutubun, right? Your books, right? So you'd say anti because you are talking to the books, right? Hiya and anti. Right, so stack of books is singular feminine. Just remember that. All right. Don't talk to books now. All right. 7.6. Number 1. Number 1. Yes. She asked Yusuf. Sa'alat Yusufa fu or fi? Fu, not fu. Yusuf is the subject or the object of the verb? Object, and the object of the verb always takes a. There's a rule. We gotta hammer this rule in. Subject of the verb takes a. Subject of the verb takes a. So I'll give you an example. A bad example. Okay, no. Let's see. What's an example? Dakhala Muhammad al-Madina. Okay. Where is the subject? Muhammad. So does he take fatha, dhamma, or kasra? He takes dhamma. So the subject takes dhamma. Dakhala Muhammadun al-Madina. So the word al-Madina is subject or object? Object. Object is going to take fatha, dhamma, or kasra? Fatha. So it's going to be Dakhala Muhammadun al-Madina ta. You gotta get that down. Solid. Subject, dhamma, kasra marfu', and object. So she asked Yusuf. Sa'alat. Right, where is the subject? It's built into the verb she. He has built in. Yusuf. So who got asked? Yusuf. Received asking, right? He got asked. So you say Yusufa. Yusufa. Sa'alat Yusufa. She asked Yusuf. Alright. Did you hear the Quran? 1M means one person, masculine. Right. Did you hear the Quran? Which is the default, by the way. When you hear you, just think of one person, masculine. Did you hear the Quran? Who would like to? Yes. Close. How do you say you hear? How do you say you heard? Huh? Sami'a? Sami'a means he heard. Yeah, you got it. Don't change it. So, sami'ata the Quran? Al-Qur'ana. Good. أسمعت القرآن. Did you hear the Quran? أسمعت القرآن. To make it a question. Another way to say it would be هل. هل سمعت القرآن? Did you hear that? Yes.
So if the first sentence was she heard the man, then you're not going to change the restaurant. Then you just know that by context, whether it's like she heard the man,
For number one or number two?
Number one.
Number one.
So if she heard the man, it would be
So we want to change to from asked to heard.
or speaking an asked.
Oh, you want to leave asked? Okay. She asked the man. Okay. So what would we say then?
So would it be
How do you say she asked? سألت. There you go. How do you say the man? سألت الرجل. لا. Got it. Good. All right. Because it's the object. Exactly. Question? Yes.
So, I don't know if this is where our question is going, but number two, how do you know if the U is for male or female?
How do you know if the U is for male or female? I tell you. So M means male. Yeah. So there's the only way to know is by telling you. Right? So if you're reading a story, it would have been talking about Yusuf, and then it asks him you. So you'll know from the context. But right now, because the sentences are so short, I will tell you. I'll say one male, or one F for female, or two F for two females, or 3 plus for 3 females, and all that. All right. Should we do one more? Who did number 3? Tried number. Okay, go ahead. Give us number 3. We worshipped Allah, and you, masculine plural, worshipped Satan. عبدنا Allah. This would be actually almost a statement of kufr if you mess up the vowel, right? So you redo your shahada again. No, you're okay. So, but this, you see how important it is to put the right vowel. You could actually commit shirk by putting the wrong vowel. You don't want to do that. All right. So it's okay. Try again. Abadna Allah ha wa plural. Abadta is the correct singular masculine. We want plural. Just look at your turn. So you look back at, if you remember the pronoun, you'll also remember it. What is the pronoun for you, all you men? It's not anta, it's antum. So that should give you a hint of what the verb should be. Abadtum, yes. Wa'abadtum al-shaytana. Even Satan deserves his right of getting the shadda. So, ash-shaytana. Ash-shaytana, right? So, abadna Allah wa abadtum ash-shaytana. Actually put a dhamma there, so abadtumush shaytana. Good. So we got this. Just requires practice. Just go home, practice it. You'll get it down. Who's doing like at least 4 or more hours of practice for each lesson? MashaAllah. That's why you're getting it down. Right? So it requires about that. How about 2 or more? 2 or more? Okay. So that's almost cutting on the edge, but inshallah you'll get it down. All right, the plural is subject of a verb. So this one's easy actually. So we've seen the subject of a verb already. Remember that the subject of the verb, when it's explicitly mentioned, it follows the verb. So we say, ذهب محمد or محمد ذهب. Do we say ذهب محمد or do we say محمد ذهب? ذهب محمد. Right? So we say Muhammad went. Right? So we're going to use the subject afterwards. When the subject of a verb is plural, the singular form of the verb will still always be used, but the gender will change. What does that mean? Take a look at this. Sajada mu'minun. We know this, right? A believer prostrated. Sajada mu'minun. What if it's two of something? Sajada waladani. You say, wait a minute, it's two boys, so shouldn't we say sajada? No. Whenever you're using the subject, explicitly you're mentioning the subject, you still use the singular of the verb. Right? So you say sajada mu'minun, sajada mu'minani, or sajada waladani. Even when it's plural, you still use the singular of the verb because it's the subject. So you say sajada rijal, sajada al-anbiya, sajada al-rusulu, sajada al-nabiyuna, sajada al-kuffar. Even if the subject is plural, you're going to use the singular of the verb. That's the rule. Except you're going to make sure it's feminine if there's a feminine subject. So like we said, abadat imra'atun, a woman worshipped. If it's two, we say abadat bintani. So feminine form of the verb, but we don't care if it's plural or not, we use the singular. Abadat nisa'un, women worshipped. Women is plural, but we keep the verb singular. But we do show that its gender is feminine, so we use abadat. So you're going to use two forms. So these are the three options you got. You're either going to have masculine singular, masculine dual, masculine plural, feminine singular, feminine dual, feminine plural. You only have 6 options, right? And 3 times you're going to use the singular, right, of the masculine, and 3 times you're going to use the singular of the feminine. That's all the rule is. So the rule is, okay, let's take a look. How do you say Muhammad went? Zahaba Muhammadun. You should know that like down easy. Muhammad went. Zahaba Muhammadun. The men went. How do you say the men? The men. Ar-rijalu. How do you say the men went? Zahaba ar-rijalu. That's how you, so you use a singular. What if we take men out of the picture and we say they went? The subject is gone now. We go back to the previous slide. How do you say they went? We forgot all of that. Huh? Zahabu. Exactly. They went, zahabu. That's because there's no subject explicitly mentioned. When you put the subject in there, the men went. Right? Now we're going to put men after the verb. Zahaba al-rijal. Right? And we're going to leave zahaba as singular. We're not going to conjugate it. Why? Because that's the rule. When the subject is explicitly mentioned, we're going to keep the verb as singular. So zahaba rajulu, zahaba rijalu. How do you say he went? He went. Zahaba. They went. Zahabu. How do you say she went? Zahabat. How do you say the girl went? Zahabat al-bintu. How do you say the women went? Zahabat the women. And it's one of the surahs of the Quran. An-Nisa'u, right? Surah An-Nisa. An-Nisa'u. How do you say they went and you're talking about a group of Nisa? Because there's no subjects explicitly mentioned here, right? I'll give you 14 options. ذهب ذهب ذهبوا ذهبت ذهبتا ذهبنا ذهبت ذهبتما ذهبتم ذهبتم. Huh? They, referring to a group of Nisa, went. ذهبنا. ذهبنا. Okay? No, ذهبنا. This is ذهبنا. Fatha, just na. Alright? 20 push-ups. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so, alright. Hopefully we got this down in just a little bit of practice. I know some heads must be hurting right now, but it's doable. Any questions? Yes? Here, the two girls, why is there kasra? Okay. Okay. How do you say two girls? Just two girls. How do you say two girls? How do you say two books? Kitabani. Right? There's two ways of saying it. One of them is kitabani and another form, kitabaini. So it's either one of two words, kitabani or kitabaini. How do you say a book? There's three forms. Kitabun, kitaban, and kitabin. So there's three forms for that one, and for two books, there's only two forms: kitabani, kitabaini. So you have to use one of the two forms, and you use the bintani form. So it is marfu' actually. It's marfu' meaning it would be like bintun, right? But it can only take bintani or bintaini. You have to pick one. Marfu'. Kitab? No, we didn't say kitab. Masajidu only takes masajidu. Yeah. Yeah. So this is not one of them. This is not. This is just the dual form. The dual form is always ani or aini. That's just the dual form. So don't think of it like a plural or don't think of it like a singular. It has its own special form. That's just the way it is. It has a special form. Okay. Is that clear? Yeah. Review the notes on the dual, and it'll be more clear, inshallah. Exactly. So the thing is, if bintani was supposed to take a fatha, it would be bintaini. If bintani was supposed to take a kasra, it would be bintaini. And if bintani is supposed to take a dhamma, it is bintani. That's the way it is, marfu'. Meaning it was supposed to take a dhamma, but it came in this form instead. Because dual form. It's only two forms of dual. Alright. So if you say fi, right? Or if you say ala bintani, what would happen to bintani if you say ala bintani? It would become ala bintaini. Alright. Okay. Any other questions? Serious question. As if these other questions were not serious. An extra week? See, I would love to give you an extra week, but it wouldn't be fair to the other students. Because many of them, they need to either, they plan their schedule a certain way and they need to get back to work, or they need to go back to a project that they're working on or something. So when we put a date, we have to stick to the date. That's the only thing. But what I recommend is, if you need more time, try the final. If you bomb the final for some reason, you still have until September 22, 3, 4, 5. Class starts on September 25th. If you can study all the way, and then you come in and you say, look, I really messed up the final because I didn't have time, but I studied so hard, I'll prove it to you. I will show you. I can orally speak all the Arabic on the final exam in your office privately. Make an appointment with me. If you convince me you studied so hard, I'll let you into Arabic too. Sound fair? Okay. All right. So, No. So if you pass the exam, you get credit. If you're not interested in credit, but you want to get into Arabic too, and you can show me that you got everything down, I will let you in Arabic too, but you won't get credit for the first class. I mean, if you fail the exam, then you get credit. So that's the compromise here. So okay. Any other question before we move on with this? We ready? Yes.
Typically on the exams, do you let people in intermediate when they pass with A or B, or?
Yes. 70% and above, we allow them into the second class. So it's very generous. I wanted 80% and above, and some of my team convinced me to do it 70%. So that's fine. Anyone looked at the discussion forum on Canvas? You looked at it? So someone, mashallah, smart, they checked and they saw I put a sample final exam of what it's going to look like. So you might want to go to the discussion section and take a look. All right, yes, you're welcome. All right, so let's, so we saw that. Oh, did we see this? Okay, so one more rule. So now the rule changes. If the subject comes first before the verb, right? Which I told you you're not supposed to do, but you can actually do that. In that case, you're going to conjugate the verb completely. So take a look at this. Al-mu'minu sajada. Right? So what's the difference between sajada al-mu'minu and al-mu'minu sajada? The meaning is the same. There's no difference. But if you say al-waladani, the two boys, you cannot say sajada. You say sajada. You have to conjugate it back for the normal pronoun. Because sajada means they two prostrated, right? So technically what you're saying here is the two boys, they both prostrated. That's what you're saying. It ends up being the same meaning. So if you take waladani, al-waladani, and you put it over here in front of the verb, what's going to happen to the verb? It goes back to sajada. Exactly. And you switch it back, it switches around. You have to conjugate this. Ar-rijalu, the men, sajadu, they prostrated. Right? So this is allowed in Arabic. You can say the men, they prostrated, and it gives you the meaning of the men prostrated. If you take the word ar-rijalu and you throw it in the front over here, what happens to sajadu? It goes back to sajada. Okay? Same thing. Al-mar'atu abadat. The woman worshipped. You put al-mar'atu in the front and you get, what happens to abadat? Nothing. Stays the same because it's already singular. Al-bintani abadata. The two girls, they worship, meaning the two girls worship. If you put bintani in the front, you get abadat al-bintani. Goes back to the singular form again. Right now, this is the dual form. It'll go back to the singular form if you put the subject in the front. An-nisa'u abadna. The women worshipped. If you put an-nisa'u over here, you get abadat an-nisa'u. Good. Any questions? Yes.
Is there like a particular reason that
It's stylistic. So sometimes you would do it because you already introduced, you already introduced the subject before, and now you want to refer back to it with the pronoun. So it's more like a style of doing it. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Questions. Okay, we're good. So let's take some practice, and let's do the first two and the first two. Okay, let's try the first one at least. Number one. Number one. Okay, who could do the first word of number one? Just the first word, yes. Yeah. Sa'ala. Good, mashallah. Who can do the second word? I have to like pull this out of you, right? Who can do the second word? At-tullabu. Very good. Who can do the third word? Al-usta. Zu, or the. The. Exactly. Good. So we put it together. Sa'alat tullabul ustaza. What does it mean? The students asked the teacher. Good. Let's do number one. Yes, question.
Are we supposed to add, I mean, do we just add vowels here, or are we supposed to add letters?
The vowels or letter? Which letters did you add?
I didn't add
Okay, good, because you're not supposed to add any letters.
any. I mean,
Yeah,
these
just
exercises in general.
yeah, you're pretty much you're just putting all the vowels because the sentences are correct. The Arabic sentences are all correct. So you're putting all the vowels. So sa you put all the vowels to make sure you got it. Because otherwise you'll make a mistake. If you put sa la, you got it wrong. You thought it was sami'a, something like that.
I just heard sa'ala.
No. Sa'ala. Yeah. Sa'ala tullabul ustaza. 7.8, number one. The boys looked at the mountain. Nazara. I heard nazara. The boys. Al-awladu. At the mountain. Ila al-jabali. Good. So we put it together and we read it nice and fast. نظر الأولاد إلى الجبل. Good. What if we switched the verb and the subject and we started with the word al-awlad? What would we get? Al-awladu nazaru. Keep going. Ila al-jabali. Good. It would just be al-awladu nazaru ila al-jabali or nazara al-awladu ila al-jabali. We'll come back from prayer inshallah and we'll correct the rest.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين يا أيها النبي لم تحرم ما أحل الله لك تبتغي مرضات أزواجك والله غفور رحيم قد فرض الله لكم تحلة أيمانكم والله مولاكم وهو العليم الحكيم وإذ أسر النبي إلى بعض أزواجه حديثا فلما نبأت به وأظهره الله عليه عرف بعضه وأعرض عن بعض فلما نبأها به قالت من أنباك هذا قال نبأني العليم الخبير إن تتوبا إلى الله فقد صغت قلوبكما وإن تظاهرا عليه فإن الله هو مولاه وجبريل وصالح المؤمنين والملائكة بعد ذلك ظهير عسى ربه إن طلقكن أن يبدله أزواجا خيرا منكن مسلمات مؤمنات قانتات تائبات عابدات سائحات ثيبات وأبكارا يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلال شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين يا أيها الذين كفروا لا تعتذروا اليوم إنما تجزون ما كنتم تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا عسى ربكم أن يكفر عنكم سيئاتكم ويدخلكم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار يوم لا يخزي الله النبي والذين آمنوا معه نورهم يسعى بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم يقولون ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير يا أيها النبي جاهد الكفار والمنافقين واغلظ عليهم ومأواهم جهنم وبئس المصير الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
It's like the room was full of tables at the beginning.
Yeah. The brother's side, we figured you might as well just put one set of tables. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Number 2. Who would like to try number 2? The Arabic one, 7.7, number 2. Okay. Do the first. Who would like to do the first word? It's the first word. Number 2. 7.7. Huh? No, the first word. Ma. Good. Ma zahabat. Good. Ma zahabat. Third word. Al mu'mina. 2. Good. Next word. Ila al masjidi. Good. So we got all the words. If you do it one by one, it works. Okay, let's just read it in one sentence. Ma zahabatil mu'minatu. Because remember, zahabat becomes kasra. Zahabatil mu'minatu ila al masjidi. Which means what? The believing women did not go to the mosque. Good. That's it. There's no reason. There's no reason to not volunteer, right? You got all the words down. Yes. Oh, you mean to break down the grammar for you? Okay. ما ذهبت, the verb. المؤمنات, subject of the verb. إلى, preposition. المسجد, it's modified by the preposition. Alright. ما ذهبت المؤمنات إلى المسجد. Number 2, 7.8, number 2. The mothers found the children in the garden. So, I say the mothers found. وجدت الأمهات, the children. The children. الأولاد, the, in the garden. في الجنة. Good. Alright, so that's it. Just combine it together and we say it faster. وجدت الأمهات الأولاد في الجنة. Good. What if we switch around the subject and the verb? We put the subject first. Put the word mothers first. الأمهات. Now the plural comes back. الأمهات وجدنا الأولاد في الجنة. Everything else is the same. So either you say وجدت الأمهات or الأمهات وجدنا. That's it. Alright, so we're good? So far so good? And end of the chapter. So you're probably thinking, wow, we did that really quickly and probably get to go home. But no, we actually are going to go to the next chapter because we skipped one day. So don't worry, this is not a very painful chapter. Chapter 9. Should be chapter 8 actually. Oh, wait, oh no, I just got to reload this page. I know you don't have, don't worry. I will make sure it's very visible on the screen. And where is it? Chapter 7 reading? Down. It's in lesson 8? Chapter 7. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Download it. Get this little panda bear on the bicycle as well. Never seems to work properly. All right. So let's take a look at chapter 8. Vocabulary, new vocabulary. Laylun. Read it with me. Laylun means nighttime. So for example, you can say كتبت في الليل. I wrote in the night, meaning in the nighttime. Naharun. Naharun. Daytime. So you can say, for example, akaltu, I ate, fin nahari, in the day, in the daytime, right? Are you supposed to do that in Ramadan? No. La. Good. Exactly. Abdun means servant or slave. Ibadun is the plural. Ibadun. Malun, wealth or money. Amwalun means monies. It's like plural. Imanun, belief or faith. Kufrun, disbelief. Aduun is enemy. A'da'un, enemies. Waliyun is friend or protector. Awliya'u means friend or protectors. See that awliya'u? What does that mean? What is that? Why is there a dhamma? Why not awliya'un? غير منصرف. And غير منصرف means two things. Number one, it doesn't take a kasra, and it doesn't take a tanween. Tanween, good. All right. Hadiqatun. Hadiqatun, garden. And the plural is حدائق غير منصرف. So it's like jannatun. Hadiqatun is another word for garden as well. So there's more than one word for garden. Shajaratun, tree. Ashjarun, trees. Right? All right. And what else? Al-Islamu is a proper noun, which does not mean prophethood. Right? It actually means Islam. Right? And Lutun, Prophet Lut, just the name Lut. Ismailu, Ishmael or Ismail, is غير منصرف, yes. And Ishaqu, Ishaq or Isaac. Okay? And other words we're going to learn today: an, which means about or away from or out of; bi, which means in or by or with, like Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we use bi. Li means to or for. Liman means for whom. Limaza means why. Li'anna means because. Sa is the future particle. You'll see what it means. And sofa is something very similar. Okay, so we're going to learn all these words today. So let's start with the prepositions, new prepositions that we're going to learn today. What have we learned so far? What prepositions have we learned? We learned ila, fi, min, and ala, and it's not a preposition though. Ila we got already. Ila, min, fi, and ala. So we learned 4 already, and we're going to learn 3 more. So we're going to learn an, bi, and li. Okay, so an, bi, and li. So let's see how these work. So the preposition an, let's start with an. The preposition an has so many different meanings that it's better you just learn which words use an. Right? Like we said, for example, kharaja always uses min, and dhahaba always uses ila. So certain verbs use certain prepositions. So when it comes to an, like ila, you can figure out ila means like to, towards. Min means from. An has so many different meanings that you might as well not even bother trying to figure out what an means without actually having a word attached to it. It has so many different meanings. So just figure out which words actually use an, and then it'll give you a better idea of how you use it. Okay, so don't even ask if someone says, hey, what's the meaning of an? Don't even bother telling them what it is, because there's so many different meanings, there's no point in even worrying about it. Alright, so let's look at some words that we already learned which can use an. So sa'ala can use an. So you say sa'ala al-ustazu, the teacher asked, an al-talibi, an, it becomes a kasra, al-talibi. So about. So an can mean about when you use it with sa'ala. So when you use it with sa'ala, it means about. So sa'ala al-ustazu an al-talibi. The teacher asked about the student. How would you say the teacher asked about the book? Sa'ala al-ustazu anil kitabi. So it becomes a kasra because it's a preposition, right? Kitabi. So the teacher asked about the book. How would you say the teacher asked, or how would you say the student asked about a mosque? Sa'ala talibu, the student asked about a mosque. An a mosque. An, not al, a mosque. An masjidin. Okay, good. Alright, so use sa'ala with an. How would you say, I asked about Islam? I asked about Islam. I asked. Sa'al to about an Islam. Al-Islam. Right, we keep saying Islam, 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 right? It's actually Al-Islam. Right? So Sa'altu anil Islam ma or mu? Me. Right. Sa'altu anil Islam. I asked about Islam. Kataba also uses an when you want to say about something. So katabtu, what does katabtu mean? I wrote. Katabtu, I wrote. Kitaban. What did I write? A book. An, about. Muslimatin, about Muslim girls or Muslim women, right? So katabtu kitaban an muslimatin. So if you use kataba and use an, it means about. Right? I did something about something. I wrote something about something. So an has the meaning of about in these two sentences. Now check this out. Huwa ba'idun. Just forget the rest. What does huwa ba'idun mean? He is far. Huwa ba'idun. How do you say he is near? Huwa qaribun. Good. So huwa ba'idun an al-madinati. So you use an with the word ba'id. Okay, you use the an with the word ba'id, which means huwa ba'idun an al-madinati. It means far away from. So what does ba'id mean? It means far. An means from when you use it with ba'id. This is the way it is. This is the way the Arabic language is. Okay? So huwa ba'idun anil madinati. Now check this out. If you wanted to say he is near the city, you would say huwa qaribun min al madinati. So you say, well, why with qarib you use min and with ba'id you use an? They're the same word. They have the same meaning as from. It's just the way the Arabic language is. You have to remember which words use which prepositions. So ba'id uses an and qarib uses min. Min. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Yes. So ba'id, it started becoming more common later on that you can use min, but it's more correct to use an. So you should use an. Okay? Alright. So that's the word an. Preposition an. Let's look at B. The preposition be also has many different meanings. So you might as well not even bother trying to define what it means, because it can mean in, with, by, through the use of, and that's why people start, debating. How do you translate Bismillah? Is it in the name of Allah, or with the name of Allah, or by the name of Allah? It's all semantics. As long as you understand what it means. All right. So, who translates it by in the name of Allah, by the way? Who prefers in the name of Allah as the translation? Who prefers by the name of Allah? Who prefers with the name of Allah? Who doesn't really care? Okay, good. All right. So, let's take a look at how we use be. Kafara ar-rajulu. Forget the rest. What does kafara ar-rajulu mean? The man disbelieved. Okay. Kafara ar-rajulu. What did he disbelieve in? Billahi wa bir-rasuli. So he disbelieved in Allah and in the messenger. So bi means in when you use it with kafara. Alright, and when you use it with iman as well, you could say, for example, Ana mu'minun billahi. Ana mu'minun bil kitabi. Ana mu'minun bil islami. Right? Or you can say, Ana kafirun bil shaytani. Or something like that. Right? So, kafara rajulu billahi wa bil rasuli. So use bi for in. So with iman and kufr, it's used in that context. Kafara and the word for belief, which you haven't learned yet, the verb for belief. And you could also use it, katabat. What does katabat mean? She wrote. Kitaban, a book. Katabat kitaban, she wrote a book, biqalamin, with a pen, or by the pen, or by a pen, or through the use of a pen. So here it also means by. Right? So here it meant in. I believe in Allah. Here it means I did something by or through the use of some object or some instrument. Right? So katabat kitaban biqalamin. She wrote a book by a pen or with the pen or through the use of a pen. How would you say? Yeah. What else is there? You can even say ذهب, for example. If you said ذهبت, what does ذهبت mean? ذهبت أنا. ذهبت, I went إلى المدينة, to the city. And if I wanted to tell you how I got there, I would say, for example, a word we have not learned yet, بالسفينة, by boat. Right? So by, be means by or through the use of a boat, for example, which we have not learned yet, but that's how you use be. So be has another meaning as well. Okay? So just try to look at the verbs that we learn and then look at how it's used. Now, if you need to know and you're like, okay, well, you didn't teach us that until now. Like we learned kafara, and then you didn't tell us that it takes a direct object, and you didn't tell us it uses be. So how am I supposed to know that it uses be? What you do is, when I teach you how to use the dictionary, you're going to go back to the dictionary and it's going to tell you kafara uses be. It's going to tell you ba'idun is used with an. It's going to tell you that zahaba is used with ila. It's going to tell you that kharaja is used with min. So the dictionary is going to tell you all the ways in which you use these verbs with which prepositions.
So we can use a dictionary?
No, not yet. Not yet. But later on in the future you will. Yeah, not yet. So for now, I've only given you like 1 or 2 examples. So you should know these examples. But later on, if you go back and you say, like, for example, zahaba, I told you you can use be with zahaba, but I didn't give you an example. So I'm not going to ask you that on the test. Right? But later on, if let's say you say, well, I wonder what zahaba could be used with. You can go back and check it one day, and then you can see, oh, it's used with be. So you'll figure that out in the future, inshallah. All right? So we got an and we got be. One more left, and that is li. So the preposition li also has so many different meanings, but it generally means 2 or 4. So you can actually, get that one. It's pretty easy. 2 or 4. So let's take a look at how you use it. Asajadu. What does asajadu mean? What does a mean? It's a question, right? Sajadu. They prostrated, right? So asajadu, did they prostrate? Li rajulin. Remember, li is connected because it's a 1-letter word, and it connects just like be connects. Right? So li, and what else connects that we learned? What other 1-letter word did we learn? An is 2 letters. Wa. Remember, when you write wa, do not write a space. It doesn't connect because it's a wow, but you don't write a space between it. So li, there's no space, so it connects. Li rajulin. Asajadu. Did they prostrate? To rajulin, a man. So did they prostrate to a man? It's a question. So you can use, for example, sajada li. So how do you say he prostrated he prostrated to a boy. He prostrated sajada to li, a boy. Wala, a boy. Wala din. Okay? He prostrated to a boy. Sajada li waladin. How do you say? I prostrated to a mountain. Sajadtu li jabalin. Got it. Good. All right. Number 2. Al-Qur'anu. The Quran. Li is for mu'minin, a believer. So the Quran is for a believer, meaning it's intended for a believer, or it belongs to a believer, or something like that. So the Quran is for. So it can mean to, and it can mean for. So what you're doing is there's no verb here. Al-Qur'anu li mu'minin. So how do you say? The book is for a student? Al-Kitabu li talibin. Kitabu li talibin. The book is for a student. Now when it comes to li, there's one more rule that you need to learn. And that is whenever li comes before a noun that has al, the alif is dropped in writing. You don't write it, the alif goes away. Right? So, watch this. It also drops in the word Allah when it's preceded. So take a look at this. Li plus baytun, you got li baytin. We learned that already, we saw that in the last slide. Li plus al baytu, you get lil bayti, but there's no alif written there. The alif is gone in writing. So you get lil bayti, but no alif. Alright? Li plus ar-rajulu, you get lir-rajul. So you still connect it. Remember, like war-rajul, not wal-rajul, war-rajul. So you get lir-rajuli, but no alif in writing. No. So when you're going to be connecting these, this is the final version. Lir-rajuli. So you drop the alif. You remove the alif. It should have been ar-rajul, right? But you remove the alif when you're writing because the li removes the alif. You still pronounce it lir. So the same means as if you were saying like li and ar-rajuli, but you just remove the alif in writing. Same pronunciation. Lir-rajuli. And then same thing with the word Allah. So li, Allahu, you get lillahi, remove the alif. So how do you write this? Just remove the alif and the lam actually. So what you do is you write li, remove the alif, and actually that remove the first lam as well, because there's too many lams here. Imagine if you added this lam to this, how many lams would you have in a row? You'd have 3 lams in a row. That's too many lams. So what we do is we leave 2 lams on this word and we say lillahi. So we don't add the extra lam either. We drop the alif and we don't add this extra lam. What does lillahi mean? It can either mean to Allah or for Allah. That's it. Right? So if you said, for example, how do you say the mosque is for Allah? Oh, the mosque. You too much tafsir going on here, right? The mosque. Al-masjidu lillahi. Right? That's it. How do you say the earth is for Allah? Al-ardu lillahi. How do you say the fire is for shaitan? An-naru lish-shaytani. We got it. Alright, so now we just got to make sure we use it in some sentences. Al-jannatu lil-mu'mini wan-naru lil-kafiri. Paradise is for the believer and the fire is for the disbeliever. Right? Make sense? Al-kitabu lit-talibi. Here's the attributive adjective. Al-kitabu lit-talibi al-jadidi. Why is this al-jadidi? Because this is a direct adjective of at-talib. And if this had a kasra, it has to follow it, and it takes a kasra as well. So don't forget that rule. I know it's a tricky one. People are still struggling with it, but this should come naturally by now. Al-kitabu lit-talibil jadidi. If I added the word al-qadim, and I wanted to say the student's also old, the new, it doesn't make sense, contradictory, but the young new student. As-saghiri. It has to just follow along. So the book is for the new student, meaning it belongs to the new student. So it can also mean possession. Like the book is for him, it belongs to him. So how do you say, for example, okay, forget that. You got it? The book is for the new student. That's it. How do you say the pen is for the teacher? The pen belongs to the teacher. Al-qalamu lil-ustad. How do you say the big pen belongs to the teacher? Al-qalamu al-kabir al-kabiru. Because al-qalamu has dhamma, al-kabiru also has to copy it. Al-qalamu al-kabiru, the big pen, is for the teacher, belongs to the teacher. Lil ustazi. Okay, how do you say the big pen belongs to the young teacher? Al-qalamu al-kabiru lil ustazi as-saghiri. Good, we got it. All right, now, oh, there's one more thing. Another way to use li is to put the man, mean who. So li, what does it mean? To or for. What does man mean? Man means who, right? So you can either mean to who or for who. So liman means for whom or whose, right? For whom or whose. So you can say liman hadha. So liman hadha meaning for who is this or whose is this, right? Forget this translation here, right? Whose is this? Hadha li Muhammadin. This belongs to or is for Muhammad, right? Yes.
The preposition rules don't apply when you say iman.
Yes, preposition rules do not apply because man is one of those words which is mabni. It never changes. It's stuck in its own form. So it doesn't affect the next word. So liman haza li Muhammadin. Right? Liman al-ard. Limanil ard. Because the sukun, one becomes kasra, right? Limanil ardu. To whom belongs the earth? Or for whom is the earth? Al-ardu lillahi. Right? The earth belongs to Allah. The earth is for Allah. So the liman can also be used to mean who, or asking someone, who does this belong to, or whose is this? Okay. That's it. Any questions? Yes. Alhamdulillah. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Alright, this is from the Quran. لِمَنِ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمِ لِلَّهِ الْوَاحِدِ الْقَهَّارِ. So this is all coming from Quran as well. Alright, so let's do some practice. 8.1, let's do number 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Okay. Number 1. Bismillah. Number 1. Yes. Al-Kitabu lil-Ustadi, which means the book is for the teacher. Number 2. Yes, Jamesa. Al-Ayatu lil-Mu'mini, which means the sign is for the believer. Good. Number 1, 8.2. We did not prostrate to a person. We did not prostrate. Ma sajadna li insanin. We did not prostrate to a person. Ma sajadna li insanin. Li insanin.
You said in that,
Ila. So you're close, but sajada can only use li. It does not use ila. So that's a tricky one. You have to use li. You have to remember which verbs we use which prepositions. So even though it sounds like two is two, ila is two, and li is two, they have two different meanings of the word two. Ila implies motion towards something, and li implies some kind of like action being performed towards something, which is different, right? So we did not prostrate. Ma sajadna li insanin. Number 2, I did not disbelieve in Allah. Ma kafartu billahi. Good. Number 3, I am far from the city. I am. Ana ba'idun from the city. Good. I heard min al madinati, and I told you with ba'idun you always use an. Alright. So ana ba'idun anil madinati. So use an with ba'id and use min with qarib. Just to go. So ana ba'idun anil madinati. So you have to remember to use an with ba'id. Just remember an, you have to remember which words you use with it. Min, which words you use with it. Li, which words you use with it. Yeah. That's good for now. Let's move on. Defective verbs. Laysa and kana. Right? Kana and laysa. And this does not mean like they're handicapped or something like that. It just means that they're defect. I'll explain to you what that means. So, in order to make an equational sentence to be in the past tense, the word kana is used. You remember what an equational sentence is? Or nominal sentence? One of those easy ones long time ago. Remember? Ar-rajulu ghaniyun. So what does ar-rajulu ghaniyun mean? This should like come very quickly. Ar-rajulu ghaniyun. The man is rich. So what you do is if you want to say the man was rich in the past tense, you put kana there. Yes, you put kana and it functions almost exactly like a verb. So how does a verb function? A verb has a subject and an object. The subject is gonna take a what vowel usually? A dhamma, and the object is gonna usually take a fatha. So the same thing, kana works in the same way. So you just take this, see the sentence? You just put kana in the beginning. So you write kana here, but what happens now? The word ar-rajulu, it's like the subject of the sentence of the verb. So the subject of the verb stays with the dhamma the way it should. But the object now, kana, ar-rajulu, the word ghaniyun is now like the object of the kana verb. What happens to the object of a verb? It takes fathas, right? So now ghaniyun changes to ghaniyan. Same thing. So same thing, look at this sentence. We knew this already. Ar-rijalu aghniya'u. The men are rich. So we know this sentence. You put kana in the beginning. Now do we put kana or do we put like some kind of conjugation of kana? Remember what we said for verbs? When the subject comes after the verb, we're going to use the singular form. So we say كان الرجال أغنياء. Why? Because this second word is like the object of kana. Is that making sense? All right.
So did you say singular female or?
No, just singular. So it could be singular male or singular female. It could be either one. No. So we're going to use it because this is not the rule about persons and non-persons. This is the rule about when the subject is explicitly mentioned, even if it's plural, you still use the singular for the verb. Unless you put ar-rijalu before the verb, then you're going to conjugate it. If you put it after the verb, you don't conjugate it. You leave it as singular, but you masculine or feminine, whichever one. So here is the feminine version of kana. Hiya talibatun. What does that mean? She is a student. So now the feminine version of kana is kanat. You probably could have guessed that, right? So kanat is like a verb. It has the hiya built into it. So what is kanat? If I just ask you, what does kanat mean? She was. What does kana mean? He was. Good. So kanat, she was. Talibatan. She was a student. Female student, obviously, right? Because, why tan? Because this is like the object of the kana. An-nisa'u mu'minatun. The women are believers, right? So you put a kana in front of it. What happens? You have to put a feminine because this is women. So kanat an-nisa'u or kanatin nisa'u. This is a sukun actually turned into a kasra. Kanat an-nisa'u mu'minatin. Now everyone's gonna go crazy and say, whoa, this is supposed to be a fatha, right? This was where did it go? This was a fatha. This was a fatha. This was a fatha, and you pull out these kasras on me, right? Where did the kasras come from? It should have been a fatha. And if you think back to when I told you, there are two rules you should always have ingrained in your head. Al never mixes with tanween. So you never say ar-rajulun. And this form of atun, atin, you will never have atan. Does anyone remember me saying that? I said it like 3 times. Alright? So you never see atan. It doesn't exist. So when it's supposed to be atan, it becomes atin anyways. It's just the way it is. Right? So technically this should have had a fatha, but it's not allowed to take a fatha. So you put kasras anyway. So don't get confused and say, oh, I'm going to put kasra here. No. Fathas can come here. They can come here. They can come here. This sound feminine plural is the only form that cannot take a fatha. One of the only forms. That's why. So don't get confused and say, oh, well, why is it taking a kasra? It's actually taking a fatha, but it's not allowed to show its fathaness. So it shows its kasraness instead. It's like one of those things they're like hiding in the closet or something like that, in a halal way, right? So any questions on this? Does this make sense? So let's take a few examples.
How about if we follow like kanati?
Kanati is actually kanat. And nisa'u just becomes a kasra. If you forget the rule and you put a sukun, kanati is correct. Kanati is correct. We put kanat, it's almost correct, and kanati is also it's correct. You could do that. So, okay. It's 10:01. So I'll let you do this at home. Let's just do one. Let's do one together. Let's do 2 together. Right? Hadha waladun. What does hadha waladun mean? This is a boy. Alright? How do you say this was a boy? You put kana in the beginning, and then you think, how does kana change the sentence around? Right? So how does kana change the sentence? So you say kana. Does hadha change? No. Does walad change? Yes. Why does walad change, first of all? It's the object of kana. And what does it change to? Wala da. So I heard wala da. What was it before? Haza wala du or dun? Dun. So why does it change to wala da? It had a tanween, wala dun, and you took away the tanween? Yeah, where's the alif? Where's the alif? Kana, haza, walad. Where's the alif? Waladan. Waladan. So waladun becomes waladan. I heard walada. So haza waladun, kana, haza, waladan. Number 2, hadhihi bintun. You put a kana in there. So what's the first thing that changes? The kana changes to kanat. Okay. What about hadhihi? Does it change? No. Bint. Does she change or she doesn't? To what? Bin? I heard tan and I heard tin. Bintan. Because the object of the verb is gonna take a fatha. Gotta just write it on your hand. Object of verb takes fatha. Gotta get that down, okay? Inshallah, just keep practicing. Yeah, you have the whole weekend. Who's coming to the review session? I don't know. You got the email, right? No one got the email for the review session? Okay, who got the email for the review session? How is it that they got it, but some people didn't get it? Discrimination. Yeah. So, the ones who raise their hand, ask them when the review session is, and they'll tell you, inshallah. All right. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yeah, chairs and tables. I don't even know. I didn't get the email, but they got it.
What is the dentist discrimination? It's like, it can't be girls. Some of the girls got it too.
I work Sunday.
Huh?
Sunday, I work Sunday.
Why didn't you just say so? All right, Sunday, 2 o'clock. So, you work Sunday? Oh, it's going to be recorded.
Wait a minute, you don't know the time?
I'm not teaching.
Oh. How do you know?
I'm not teaching. Your son is teaching.
I was supposed to be recording.
What happened?
You didn't hear me earlier? Like, Danny, you're late.
Oh, that's what I think you're joking with him. Oh, that's what you had to say.